So, I'm going to be doing a review of Young Hellboy, Assault on Castle Death. This is part of the second independent haul that my friend Chris sent me. It's still sending me, I think, way more books are on the way. But this was part of the collection he was sending me. Now, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Hellboy. I love the universe. It's probably one of those independent universes that I will always try to look for books and try to collect in any way, capacity, budget willing. But the Young Hellboy series, I think it's only this and the other book, The Hidden Land, which I actually really liked, and I did a review of it, I think, a year or so ago. Young Hellboy, The Hidden Land was a cool story about, obviously, it's Hellboy in his younger years, and essentially what it is that, in that story, Hellboy and Professor Broom get lost on an unknown island and encounter like dinosaurs and a woman who can turn into a giant gorilla. It was actually a lot of fun. So I had a lot of expectation for Assault on Castle Death, which the Young Hellboy series is kind of geared towards a more younger audience, but still has that horror feel to it. Although I will make the argument that I do believe Hellboy books on a whole can be a great comic for any young reader. I do think that Hellboy books, while they are creepy and they do have some scary imagery, it's not graphic, or it's not too graphic in a sense that like you can show your kid a Tim Burton movie, and it's creepy but fun. That's how I kind of look at it. So this series is this, like I said, the sequel to The Hidden Land, and Assault on Castle Death is it's kind of a step down. It feels like a step down, at least to me, where in this book, Hellboy and the BPRD have moved from New Mexico to Connecticut, and Hellboy suddenly feels ill, and in his illness, he sees Lobster Johnson, who, if you don't know who Lobster Johnson is, he's like a kind of a pulp character from the Hellboy books that is like treated as a comic book, but at the same time he is a real character, but he's kind of like almost like a myth, really. So Hellboy and Lobster Johnson go to battle Nazi zombies in a place called Castle Death to keep some dark spirits from this occult bomb from blowing up Washington, D.C. Or so Hellboy believes, because really Hellboy has a fever and he's hallucinating it. He's basically hallucinating the whole story, and we see that. So that's kind of the main crux of the story. The other half of the story focuses on one thing I forgot to mention about The Hidden Land was that in there is this man named Father Alphonse Audric. And he was part of a sacred order that is brought together to kill Hellboy in order to prevent the apocalypse. Well, he failed and died in the Hidden Land, so now they send their next agent, Father Robert. And Robert has had visions of Hellboy and becoming Anunun Rama, and his whole destiny is to kill him with a sacred blade. So he's kind of the main threat that Hellboy doesn't see, because he's just basically off having this adventure and has no mind of Robert, who is just kind of like one step behind. This feels really kind of weird, because usually with Hellboy books, you know the danger's real. And yes, the danger is real, but I never really expected Mike Mignola and the creative team behind this to do a real kiddie story, in the sense that yes, there is some scary imagery and some classic Hellboy stuff in here, but it really feels it's all an illusion, it's all hallucination, because Hellboy's sick. We don't know why Hellboy is sick. I imagine they'll talk about because the thing is, Hellboy's never really run a fever, and he has gotten sick a few times, but he's never really had a human fever before, and it's never really explained how that happened. Although, then again, you can just get sick for no reason. That happens in the real world. But then again, Hellboy is a demon. So it does feel weird that we're going on this hallucination adventure with Hellboy and him meeting Lobster Johnson. But at the same, it doesn't feel like the stakes are that high. in this book, and it really feels more like I'm watching an episode of Rugrats, to be honest. Like, it really does feel like a Hellboy version of a Rugrats episode, just instead of like meeting Reptar, they're fighting zombie Nazis or Nazi zombies. I don't know what the correct term is. Fuck it, whatever. Yeah, it does feel like a step down, honestly. It does kind of more build up for this sacred order that wants to destroy Hellboy, but this was the this book came out in, I say, 2022, I think. This is, the book has been out, and I don't know if they've made any more books for the Young Hellboy series. But then again, Mike Mignola is a pretty busy man, so he'll probably come back to this once he's done with writing some other books as well. But yeah, so there you go. That's my review for Young Hellboy, Assault on Castle Death. I usually I'm a lot more forgiving on a lot of Hellboy books, but this one just kind of felt like a waste of space, and yeah. But more often than not, I love a lot more Hellboy books. This one just felt like, yeah, it feels like an episode of Rugrats, but with Hellboy. Anyway, there you go, guys. So that is my review of Young Hellboy, Assault on Castle Death. Chris, thank you once again for the book and the other books as well. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.